And I titled my time together with you today, really Aspiring to Influence. So let me share with you, for a few minutes, some of the vision we have, both at FEX and at FEX Foundation. I also want to share with you that we need you to help. And we need your help, and we need you to aspire to influence more greatly the cause that I think is so important to us. So let me quickly go through these. There's too much information on each slide, so I will just use these as backdrops to focus on it. The PPI vision. Why are we here? The reason we created the vision is simple. The family enterprise matters. It matters in Canada. It matters to our economy. 60% of the GDP is created by family enterprise. We know all the statistics. Secondly, family enterprise advice matters. Family enterprise-centric advice with people who understand the holistic needs of family. And it's more than the narrow tunnel vision of professionals giving you their view based on tax or accounting or this or in that. And so that's the backdrop. Where does the foundation sit? The role of the foundation is one level higher. It's basically saying we want to learn the global best. We want to understand the global best thinking. We want to understand the global best practices for families. We want to understand the global best practices for advisors. And we want to create and curate research that sets us apart and helps us to step up to the next level. Our purpose was not to just in a local way say what's going on in Canada and how do we do it, but how can I learn from Germany? How can I learn from Holland? How can I learn from Hong Kong? How can I learn these things? So one of the things we've done at the foundation is create a leadership council. And this has been an exciting part of what we do. In fact, every time we meet, I come away almost emotional and inspired by the group because they come away and dump data and ideas that I've never thought of before from different jurisdictions. And so we've sort of blocked it into 4 levels. We wanted to have the best ideas in creating a learning continuum. What's that journey look like in PATH for families, whether you're just beginning your journey or whether you're multi-generationally in? What's that journey look like if you're an advisor in terms of learning the process? And yes, FEA, we believe, is the gold standard that every family should be committing to along the way. What about research? And so we've again evolved. So let me just briefly identify the people who are in that leading council. That leadership council are people that we've chosen who have global respect already in their own area. They happen to be Canadians, but they have recognized vision around the world, and we're very proud of these people and how important they are. Wendy takes the lead in terms of developing and fleshing out that learning continuum. And you've already know Wendy, a lot of you, and we'll give you more and more information as we've now been fleshing out what that learning continuum will look like for each of us, that journey. Ruth, recognized around the world as one of the key advisors in the world. She knows all the people who are playing the game. She's at those conferences. We want to learn from that. Olivier, who's a multi-generational family himself and is the president of BFF, a great addition for us in understanding from his perspective, which is global and European, where families fit in and where they don't fit in. And our most recent addition, Rob, who happens to be a brilliant PhD researcher himself and is also responsible, as you can see, at Concordia as the chair of our entrepreneurship. And so that's one of our major thrusts. Our second major thrust was research. It was amazing to me that when I first became involved in this process a few years ago, I began to ask people like Wendy and Ruth and Margaret Jean, and say, well, okay, where's the research? And I discovered a lot of it was anecdotal. Yes, we have the icons like the John Davises. We have people like that in that generation who have been amazing. And the families have been able to reach out and add them to their board have been well served by that. But there's a lack of empirical evidence, particularly in Canada. And so one of the privileges that happened to us, even early in our vision of FEX, is we began to talk to the Conference Board of Canada, the best and respected assessment group for building objective research, respected by all industry and be respected by governments. We've joint ventured. And this first study is well along the way. Lots of humps and bumps to get there. How do you mine to define family enterprise, which is sort of a fuzzy notion and hasn't been ticked off in tick boxes in the past. And so we know it's going to take us a period of research and time to be able to flesh all of that out. But we're very committed to doing that. And the first project has cost several $100,000, and we have others who have stepped up and joined us in that process. But the research is being done, and that's step number 1. With your help, we're going to go to step number 2. Step number 2 will be in joint venture with the Conference Board of Canada, creating a Centre for Family Enterprise. This will be recognized by individuals, by families, by governments as the place to look for if you need research and collaboration. So what does that look like in terms of our result? The result will be that we now have data that will help us. Now, it's not my job today to be political, and I would use all my time if I started into this. But I can't resist pointing you to 2 points. One is, read the article that was recently related to the Fraser Institute. The impact of the government bringing in that legislation last year has affected $8 billion going from family enterprise into charities. The next time the government of any sort, and I'm not being political, wants to make a decision based on whatever their view is socio-politically, we want to be there. We want to have created that voice. We wanted to create a voice that's respected, and that voice has to include research. And that research will be showing, here's what the impact is of doing X versus Y. And so research is an extremely important part of our vision for the future. Aspire to influence. We believe we can help Canada in the long run. We believe we can change lives in Canada. We can believe we can influence the next generation of family, and more importantly, even for Canada and for our children and for our grandchildren. We passionately believe that. We know you do too. And we need your help. We need your help to step up, because we don't want to do this in 10 years. We don't want to do this in 15 years. We need to do this now. And so we are asking people to step up and to work with us. Yes, we've been privileged enough to have seed capital to help us get to where we are, but we need to step up further. This multi-million-dollar vision that I've just described to you, we do not have funding for in place yet. We are going out to ask significant families to step forward and see our vision. We are going out to ask significant corporations not to get sponsorship, but to see the vision of how we're going to change Canada. And we'd like to challenge and throw that opportunity out to you, and understand that you can play a role with us. These are some of the firms and some of the families who have stepped forward so far. You have them listed in your brochures, and I want to identify them to you, and please take the time to thank them, because they have stepped out and given us the ability to start pushing that vision that I'm now sharing with you today. So, my last slide. Help us empower. Help us take this step forward. Help us create the vision that sets us apart. This is the beginning. This is our second symposium. We are committing a tremendous amount of energy and financing to get where we are. We're committing together to go forward, and we are going to go forward. We want to be that voice that is desperately needed on behalf of Family Enterprise. We ask you to join us, and we thank you for the time before you go out and have a drink, and thank you for allowing me to share this time with you.